Welcome back, everybody. Glad you could get back online. Now, we'd just like to introduce John, who's going to give us the attributes of a leader. Thank you very much, John.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mandy. It's great to see everyone on Zoom tonight. I'm talking to the leaders, so there's not much I can say from this side. There's so many books on leadership. What is a leader? Who is a leader? If you go back and you have a look at people like Genghis Khan and the other strong leaders, they ruled by fear. Now, I wouldn't like our team to take this as part of their curricula by leading by fear. If someone didn't agree with you, take off their head or run them through with a sword. That's leading by fear, and a lot of leadership is done by fear, and the authority was final. Like in the army, that is also authoritarian rule. I think if you have a look at the different attributes of a leader, and we've got many leaders on the screen right now, and just by having a look at examples, like Sean was saying, that he couldn't. And I remember when he was so young in the business, he was even shy to talk in his own lounge in front of two people. But now look at him, he makes the presentation. So we've got a program for that. But if you have a look at the leadership that we've got there, and we got some leadership points that our leader in the church, our head pastor, Hilton Craig, they're phenomenal leaders, him and his wife, Gina, put together a whole lot. And I'd just like Debbie just to read this quickly. I'm not going to go through them. She's just going to read through them.
He's dropped me.
Just quickly, just read that.
Okay, number one, they begin with a determination to finish and to finish well. They always have a vision bigger than what they are. They take care of themselves spiritually. They take care of themselves physically. They invest in their family. They treat people well. They share the workload. They do not let discouragement set in. They have genuine friends, and they have learned to laugh.
Thank you, Debbie. Debbie was unaware of that. Sometimes we spring unexpected things onto our nearest and dearest. So what type of leader are you? If you have a look at our leadership, there's no bosses. So you can't say, look, I told you to do this and do that. We are not bosses, and that's the reason why a lot of people get out of what they're doing, is to fire the boss. We don't need a boss here. So I found that the leadership that we look at, they are kind, they are gentle, they're considerate. If you have a look at putting the other person first, great example was Louis Smith. I'll give you an example there. When we were at Plettenberg Bay, we had to find accommodation for our downline. And this couple came all the way from whatever place, and they hadn't booked their accommodation. Louis Smith gave up his accommodation so that this couple could go there, and he slept in his car that night. So that's extreme. And another example is Charlie Bolton. He will walk the extra mile just to put us first before himself. So if you look at our leadership, excuses, in fact, I think someone said that they're just lies in disguise. Excuses are useless. And one of the big things, our leadership is always positive. In our training group, we always have a sign, if you can't be positive, we thank you for your silence. I know some people used to scoff at that, but even coming onto a Zoom, if you've got a scowl and you are miserable, it can influence the other person. So we've got to be positive, and we've got to talk life, never speak bad about anyone. Always build up, be edifying. And I want to sort of come to this last quote, and I think it actually shows what a leadership is. It comes from President Truman. Now, I know a lot of you haven't met him because he was a little bit before our time. During the last war, people were passing the buck. When they say pass the buck, it wasn't my fault. They would blame this and blame that, blame everyone except themselves. So Truman put a sign on his desk and he said, the buck stops here. That is it. There was no one else to blame. He was in charge. He looked in the mirror and said, I'm in charge of my organization. He had a no-nonsense approach to decision making. If you have a look at his responsibility that he took for himself, and I just come to think, if we take responsibility for ourselves and our own team, there is no one else to blame. We are where we are by the decisions we have made and by the things we have done. So you can't blame, oh, it was my bad upline that didn't do this for me, or it was this or the COVID or this. There's a lot of things a person can blame. But if the buck stops with you, where does that put you? It just puts you right in the center of your own decisions. And that's a true leader. You stand up for your decisions, you make strong decisions. And Debbie mentioned it just now. No one likes making decisions. And the best example I can think of is when you go to a restaurant with a lot of people, and then they all look at the menu, and then you see the one person say to the next one, well, what are you having? What are you having? You can see it. And then everyone's not making a decision. And then the waiter comes. So they put the decision making to the waiter, and they ask the waiter, what is good on this? He says, it's all good. So now one person will say, I'll have the steak, egg, and chips, or whatever it is. And 99% of the people around the table will all go with that. So we're looking at making our own decisions, stand by them. They say that the tallest trees in the forest take the most wind. Take the most wind. Chew off more than you can bite, and then chew it. Because a leader is responsible for your own team and your own destination. But more than that, you're responsible for your downline, but also for your family and for your family to come. The decisions we make are for our generations to come. And we've got the Eagle Team ethos and the absolute integrity and values of the Eagle Team, where sincerity and fair play, being fair and firm is actually the order of the day. So I'm going to sort of close there. But if you look at our leadership, and I'm very proud of the leaders we've got in here on the screen tonight, each one of you have got your own story. And I think, as I said, I was going to end off there, but I've got one more story to tell. I met a young lady this week who had an incredible story of resolution, and she went right through incredible hardship, and she made it through to the other side. Strong-willed and absolute value. So I think it can be done. No matter where you are in a dark place, if you have that determination and you are strong-willed, you can see it through. So if you put up a sign, like I'm going to use Sean, for example, he wants to be a SAPA director, and you're going to be a SAPA director, put SAPA director there, the buck stops here. And you build your organization because the buck stops there. If you're going to be a director, the buck stops with you. You can't blame your upline, downline, sideline, whatever line. Take full responsibility of where you are and what you're going to do. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, John. And now we're going to have Jenny, who's going to give us the forthcoming events. Thanks, Jenny.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jenny Potter, all the way from Sutterheim in the Eastern Cape. First of all, I just want to welcome Christy and Tony for attending this very important event. To attend all the events is very, very important. And what a pleasure that we can sit in our own homes and attend the events from anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world. We don't have to be in Durban or Cape Town or wherever. What a pleasure. So, having said that, let me just tell you about the events that are quite regular. On a Tuesday evening at 7:30, Sean kindly presents a Zoom called Tuesday Tech, when he teaches us the more detail of illnesses or how to prevent illnesses, sometimes products, and so that we can learn the deeper reason why we tell people or advise people about products. And then on a Wednesday, John and Debbie lead what we call our special training, which is cycle events, training on how to do the business, the basics. Those of us that have been in the business forever, it always sounds a bit tedious, but if you don't go back to the basics, this business isn't going to work, because our business is very simple to follow, very easy to do, but if we don't follow it, it's like baking a cake. It's not going to happen. So be there, or as they say, be square. And then on the 19th of October, we have the Near Life Impact Summit, which is the old convention. And folk, if you have never been to a convention, if you've never been to the Near Life Impact Summit, you've lost out big time. And I suggest the early bird payment is 300 Rand, and the cutoff date is on the 29th of February, because after that, you're going to pay a little bit more. Sort out the accommodation later. Just book your ticket, and then at least you're there. At least you've booked and you've paid to go to the summit. It is more worth, 300 Rand is worth, it's priceless going to the summit. There is so much that you're going to learn, that you're going to see, that you're going to be influenced and motivated. Not to mention the camaraderie-ship and meeting your teammates, especially like myself, who's out in the bush, far away from everybody in Durban, and just to get together with the family, because you are family, Christy and Tony. You've joined our family, you're adopted into our family, and we are your brothers and sisters. So you need to meet us and get to know us. And then this is all happening in the Sun Arena at Times Square. And I promise you, I don't know where you live, but if you live like me in the sticks, to go to this huge arena and be in the middle of the city, it's like, wow, very, very nice. No, you just need to be there. And then Near Life has put on a whole lot of meetings. They call the RISE meetings. They teach us also the basics and lots of product information. These are live sessions. The one in Cape Town is on the 17th of February. Then there's one in Johannesburg the same day, 17th of February. And there's one in Port Elizabeth, the 24th of February. The idea of this is to also get your guests that you have in those towns, cities, invite them to the summit. Let us know if you've got guests there, and then Near Life will look after them. Drew goes to them. Brandon goes to them. So whoever's at these meetings can look after your guest for you. But watch the posters that come out. They advertise, and book your guests there, and tell somebody that's going to those meetings to please look after your guests for you. The next very important one, and I would say don't miss it, is the hot month of June in Bloemfontein, where the temperature of 2 degrees or 4 degrees becomes 24 degrees, because you are so hot and so on fire when you walk out of that meeting, a Friday night, Saturday the whole day, and your Sunday morning church service, as well as rounding it off. You finish by 12 o'clock. This all happens on the 14th to the 16th of June. Book it. This is an Eagle Team event put on by, hosted by Charlie and Alta, very kindly makes this huge meeting that is more than worthwhile going. If you've never been to Bloem, this year you will go to Bloem, because otherwise you can put in your resignation as a Near Life distributor. You need to be there. Klaar. And that is the roundup of the events. Obviously, our monthly ADT, as you are on this one, Christy and Tony, so well done. And then try and be at the events and try and invite as many guests as you can to all these events and let them learn along with you. You won't be sorry. Thank you, Mandy. That's me.
Thank you very much, Jenny, for that very informative events list. Now we have Debbie doing her favorite task, recognition. Thank you, Debbie.
Yeah, I love recognition, but unfortunately, this is an Eagle Team meeting, and to earn Eagle Team monies, you need to be on the Zoom. Otherwise, you don't earn the extra monies. And I've just had, unfortunately, Barry and Liz, they well over 500 points. So if they were on, they would get 50 Rand, and us being their director, we would give them 50 Rand, and then they would need to put that into a special account. If you don't get your step-ups, we haven't had any step-ups. January was quite a tough month. I don't know who else had a tough month in January. I think the best people who had a good month in January happened to be John and I. So I think you can give us a good hand. Yeah. We earned quite a bit of income from overseas. One lady in Germany, she gave us just on 2,000 Rand once the money was converted. We had Australia, we had New Zealand, we had the UK, and we had America and Canada. So that really boosted our income this month. So we were very thankful for that. Yeah, otherwise this month, I don't know. I think something happened, something clicked in everybody's minds because people are just flying. I know that Sean's doing so well and Jenny's doing so well. I can just see that this month is going to be a good month for all our team. So just do it. Just do it.
Do it.
Thanks, Mandy.
Thank you very much, Debbie. And now Vic will do the close for us. Thank you very much, Vic.
Hi, everybody. People who don't know me, Vic. Yeah, basically, I was asked to talk on some motivation. Motivation is actually a very, very deep topic. It's defined in the book as a reason or reasons for acting or behaving in a particular way. So it comes down to a reason, to having a reason for it. So if you're not absolutely sure or clear about what you want, how can you be motivated? You have to be very sure about what you want. You either have enough reason or you don't have enough reason. No one else can give you the reason to do the business. You really have to have that yourself. Yes, reading, listening to talks, that does help, but only if you know exactly what you want or where you want to go, and then you take action. So breaking it down a bit further, there are two types of motivation. There's extrinsic, which is outside of yourself. Now, this is very typical of what the Eagle team has, which is rewards, money, recognition, praise. These are things that happen outside yourself, and they are there to motivate you. Then there's the intrinsic, which is internal to yourself. These are the things that you do just to get a sense of achievement. Things like crosswords, Sudoku puzzles, or just taking a course and passing it, where it benefits only you and your mind, no one else. So those are the basic two. There is one which they nowadays are classifying as a third type of motivation, and it's called family motivation. That means guys like a lot of us, we go to work every day, even though we're not internally motivated at all, but because it's a means to support your family. So you're doing it for your family. Now, I actually think that a lot of people are in their life under the same condition. They do it because it's a means to support the family, not because they actually love it as an intrinsic thing does it. So I hope that you are here for the right reasons. Either way, motivation serves as a guiding force in our lives. Positive motivation can increase your efficiency as you work toward your goals. So it ties up with goals. It can drive you to take action. It can help you feel more in control of your life. It can improve your overall your feel of overall of control of your life. It can improve your overall well-being and happiness. But increasing your efficiency towards your goal, you have to be wary of that one. That's a little bit of a two-edged sword. People set goals. I know there was no goal session tonight, but people set goals, and sometimes the overall goal is very, very high, and sometimes not achieving that goal at one hit is actually demotivating. So be careful when you set your goals. Set the goals that you can achieve the smaller ones, which lead up to the bigger ones. So yeah, so motivation comes in three basic sort of steps or stages. The first thing, obviously, just thinking about it, you've got to decide, and that is activation. This is a decision to actually start doing something. You decide, I'm going to join Neolife, I'm going to do a course, I'm going to. Now that's fine. That's the first stage. Secondly, you've got a thing called persistence. It doesn't help if you start that course and you start Neolife and you flake out at the first obstacle. So you have to have the persistence toward a goal, past any obstacles you get. And they're going like extra mile. You go to a meeting, like Jenny said, you've got to go to those meetings. You don't go to a meeting because you're tired. That's wrong. Tired is not an excuse to not go to a meeting. So that's where you've got to show your persistence. Then intensity. Intensity is basically the concentration and focus and effort that you put into your pursuit of your goal. That really drives you. Now, it means going the extra mile. Yes, you come to a talk like this tonight, but then you put your computer off and you forget about it for the next couple of weeks until we come back again. In between, what do? Do you pursue your goal? Do you work on it? That's where the intensity comes in. You've got to focus on it basically every day. So these three components taken in a combination are really impacting you on whether you're achieving your goal or not. We all have highs or lows in our lives. Sometimes we have to reassess our goals because motivation ties up with your goals. You have to look at your goals and your progress. And as I said earlier, you sometimes have to reassess your goals and maybe step back a bit and break your goals down to smaller goals, which are then achievable, which can remotivate you. So there's so much said about motivation and goals together that if I had half an hour or 3/4 of an hour, I'll make it through some of it. So that's for another talk, not right now. So for now, you've got to set those goals. You've got to know that you can achieve them. You hit some speed bumps in the road, talk to your upline. Just take the action, be persistent, even in the face of obstacles. We all face obstacles. There's many of them, financial, whatever. We all face obstacles, but just work through them, stay positive, stay focused, and we'll all get together at the top. So thanks for listening, folks. That's me out.
Thank you very much, Vic. That was very good. And thank you, everybody, for your share in this evening. And Christy and Tony, hopefully we'll see you again on our next Zoom training. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Good night.